Hi guys, welcome to today's video. So in today's video I want to talk about things that inspire me as an artist, and like what inspired me when I first got started, just stuff like that. I had a few comments saying that people had liked these little story time things or experience videos, so I'll try and do some more. I don't really know what to talk about. But if you have anything that you did want me to make, just let me know in the comments and I can sort of make a video about it if you're interested. I don't really know what else to make. But yeah, anyway, in this one I wanted to talk about what inspires me, because I've got that question quite a lot of times and it's kind of difficult to answer it in like a couple of sentences on Instagram. So I thought I'd make a video. So when I first started, I discovered that people were making art dolls and like what they were. So people like Anya Boz and Woodsplitter Lee were making art dolls, and I thought it was pretty cool, and I wanted to give it a go. So I wanted to do something kind of a little bit different. So I went for, instead of like posable ones, I went for like more like plush dolls. But then like I wasn't really happy with the way it was turning out. Like I did a couple of them, a couple of wolves and tiger. If you've seen my comparing my newest to oldest art doll video, you'll see I still have it. But yeah, I wanted to do something a little bit different, so I made the white tiger with orange stripes. But then like I slowly progressed into making armatures for it, and you know, I did a lot of trials and different stuff of what armatures I like to use, finally settling on one that I liked. But it has evolved over the years that I've made art dolls as well, so it's not predominantly wire anymore, it's a lot of ball and socket armature. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. So when I've always been sort of inspired by Japanese art as well, and like especially Japanese woodblock paintings. I've always been really into that, and tattoo illustrations. I thought they were always pretty cool because they kind of draw from woodblock paintings, and I like that aesthetic and the way it looks. And I've always been interested in Japan as well. I've always been into anime and games and stuff as well. So a lot of my work has a Japanese influence to it. So it may not look completely Japanese, but it'll have like a Japanese name, or there's like small little subtleties that are Japanese. So I've always sort of struggled to incorporate that into my work, because my work comes out how it comes out. I don't want to force something that it's just not naturally coming out, so it turns out the way it turns out. And I always sort of wanted to steer away from like your typical like Harry Potter plush fantasy looking animals. I guess like maybe what is it, Roman mythological creatures and stuff. I've always tried to sort of steer away from that, because that's not really my interest. My interest is like Japanese mythological creatures, so things like Oni masks and stuff, well, Onis, and you know, nine-tailed foxes, and the cat with two tails and stuff, Nekomata. So I've always sort of been interested in that. But I mean, my work, like I said, it turns out the way it turns out. I like colors, so a lot of my work has color in it, and it's kind of like a struggle to incorporate that color into like Japanese things, because Japanese things are really like muted and not so vibrant. So that's always sort of been like a struggle, I guess, for me. Like, where does that sit? Or I guess it's its own little entity type thing. So yeah, I've always been interested in that sort of stuff, and particularly one game that I played when it first came out on PlayStation 2, I think it was Okami, and that game was just like everything I liked was in that game. It had art, it was Japanese, it was animals, mythological Japanese creatures, just everything, drawing. It was just a perfect game. So that really, like, I guess woke me up a little bit. And I was really into the way their styling was, with like the watercolored sumie type style of art. It was just like something I'd never seen before in a game, and I've been playing games for since I was a kid. So that one, like, it just kind of opened my eyes to what you can actually do with your art. So a lot of that, especially my illustrations, are pretty heavily inspired by that game, and especially their art book. Like, it's really awesome. And like another game that inspired me was like Red Dead. When that first came out, I was really into the fact that they had like herbalist type things, and you know, each little, I liked the map, and I liked the way the map was drawn and how detailed the map was. So I wanted to sort of do something for my work where I could create a map and create things for the map, or like where things live and what things grow and items and stuff. I really like that. So not that I really spend a lot of time doing that stuff. Like, I've drawn 2 maps so far, and it's really like a rough sketch map. Like, I haven't gone into so much detail. I'm just like kind of indecisive, like how I want to do it, and all of that stuff. But you know, I've got a whole list of different things that, you know, plants that grow in that area, and terrains and names of the places and the creatures that live there. Like, I've always been into that sort of thing. So I've always liked the aesthetic of Red Dead as well, even though a lot of my work doesn't actually reflect that. I liked that whole messy looking art. I'm not sure that I'm into clean art, if that makes sense. I like messy and not perfect art, but at the same time I want it to be clean. So explain that. But you know, I've been recently playing around with Procreate, and I did some illustrations with like a clean technical pen that has no details to it, and I did another one that had texture to it, and it was a bit more messy. It was a bit messier, and you know, things went in the lines, and I kind of stared at them both, and there was something really bugging me about the one that I did that was clean and solid colors and stuff. It's still bugging me that it's too clean, it's not textured enough, and it's not like, it's too digital, I think, is the problem. And the other one that I did had has a lot of texture in it, and more of a Japanese sort of feel to it. So yeah, so kind of finding my way in illustration wise is also really difficult, because I don't know what I want to do. And like, I know that I like watercolor, that's a start. I like the look of watercolor, I like the texture, I like the way it turns out. A lot of Japanese work is in watercolor, so watercolor is where I've rounded it down to. And I know that I like particular illustrations in Japanese woodblock, and I like the way the faces look, but I'm also very particular about that. So I think it's just a big learning curve on how I want things to look, and like finding my way of illustrating. I haven't found it yet, so it's just a whole lot of searching and experimenting and seeing what it comes up with and seeing what comes out, and sort of narrowing it down to what I like and what I feel is me, I guess. So And I mean, using references as well is really difficult, because in terms of art dolls, I try really hard not to, like, I follow artists on Instagram that make art dolls, and I try really hard not to get that design stuck in my head or that influence into my head, because I don't want to replicate that into my work. So a lot of the times I try not to actually look at it, just because I know it seeps in and then it's there. Like, I did a watercolor of a wolf and a moon, and you know, it turned out to be something from another artist that I had seen and I liked, and it just came out onto the paper. So I mean it's a good sort of experiment, I guess, but now I can't do anything with that piece but make it a free printable, because I don't want to sell something that's the same as someone else. So yeah, I try very hard to avoid small artists that we follow each other and stuff on Instagram. So I try to not, I don't want that to be in my subconscious and then it project onto my work, which it's a difficult thing, because I want to support other artists, but at the same time I need to not, I guess, protect myself as an artist, that I don't want to copy something else. So yeah, I try to draw my inspiration from like other things, like outside things, maybe nature or old sort of images, like Japanese woodblock images, and you know, stuff like that. So yeah, it's a bit of a difficult one to sort of explain, but I guess my art work is, the way I work is very reclusive, and I don't know how other people work, but I'm a little bit of a recluse. But yeah, a lot of my artwork is very reclusive, and I just sort of try not to get sucked in by everyone else's work around me, and whether it's a bad thing or not, but maybe that works for me. I don't know if maybe that sort of thing doesn't work for you and you need other people's artistic influence on you, but I really try not to, because if I get something stuck in my head, then I struggle to come up with it myself. So yeah, I try really hard to avoid that sort of thing. I try not to spend a lot of time on Instagram as well, even though everybody does, it just happens. But I try to not spend a whole lot of time scrolling through things. I mean, I do follow artists and I do want to support them and stuff, but yeah, I don't actually follow a whole lot of people on there. Just people I know, like through the hobby or through the art practice and stuff as well. So yeah, anyway, let me know your experiences with that sort of thing, and like what inspires you, or I don't know, anything. Just leave it down in the comments, and maybe we can chat about it. But yeah, in the meantime, you can check me out on Instagram and Facebook at Creatures of Nat. And yeah, you can support me on Patreon if you like. It's down in the description box. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.